Hi, this is Weekly Reflections, and I'm Nancy Joy. I'm actually recording this on Sunday, October 20th, which is my birthday, and I am 66. What a number. Look that up. You know what? In numerology, that double number happens to be about wealth and joy and having fun, and it's just like it's a Jupiter thing. It's a Jupiter and Venus. Really good numbers. So I guess instead of being sad, I'm very excited. So let's move on with today's message. Afraid to be afraid. I just finished reading an incredible book called The Synchronicity Key by David Wilckock. I think everyone on earth should read it because among other things, he nails it right spot on about the cycles of time, the proof of them, and how this assures that we are have moved into, and are creating now a golden age. There's no stopping it. This is the end of a karmic cycle that he proves through scientifically is actually 3 precession of the equinoxes long. So we're not just ending one 25,920 year cycle, we're ending 3 around 75,000 years of this round and round and round we go with war, with darkness, and then joy, and then back again, and the whole Groundhog Day thing. It's done. We're moving on. So it's a great book. This is the quote I want to share with you today, and this leads into how being afraid to be afraid is stopping you dead in your tracks in your journey. This is his quote, we try to force the truth to be the way we want by refusing to look at the truth. As a planet, letting go of fear is critically important to create this change. So fear is not your adversary right now. Fear is your friend. Fear is telling you, as Ezekiel has always told me, fear is telling you what you need to move through, not what you need to run away from. And I have always wanted to address this being afraid of being afraid, because it's so perfect when you think about it. In the U.S. lately, this has been really put under a magnifying glass. My way or the highway, and it's been a frenzy that's been propagated by the mass media and people dividing into sides, and it really is craziness. It's absolute craziness, because what they're really doing is they're polarizing off because they're afraid to come together or to look at both sides and find a way that works. That is what happens as duality collapse. Polar opposites come together and create a new energy, a new frequency, like negative and positive charges on a battery coming together, boom, spark, something happens. So we're kind of stuck in that mode that we say we're afraid to be afraid. I had a great quote. My son told me, I was telling him how we were doing this reflections, and he had a quote from the movie Dune, and I can't remember who that creator is, but it's, I shall let fear pass through me until only I remain. And you know what's the funny thing? Here we go to an amusement park and we line up to go on the world's most newest death-defying roller coaster, and we're scared to death, but we can't wait. And you get up to the top and then you scream in pain, fear, and ecstasy as you fall down and start to move around and go back to the beginning again. And what are we doing? We are moving through our fear. We are excited and we are empowered by having moved through this fear, so much so we go and get in line again, right? Well, now we have to do it inside ourselves. In my book, The Wounded Heart, there is an excellent excerpt on fear, and I've posted the link to my book, but also to the article from which this ended up in my book, when Ezekiel channeled about the value of fear and how important it is to learn to use it constructively. And that link will also be on the email below. And I'll try to get them posted on it for YouTube. And especially if you're moving through any kind of fear right now, financial, health, martial law, the Republicans lost, the Democrats won, we're going to have this health care, oh my God, it might be terrible, it might not be. Any kind of concern and fear you really need to read Ezekiel's message on fear. It is very, very, very powerful. And it lends itself into being afraid to being afraid of being afraid. I don't know how many spiritual people, I'd say lots, I see them wanting to stay in a good place. So you want to stay in a good place, and that keeps you afraid not to be in a good place, when in fact, when you move through your fear of not being in a good place, there's a tremendous amount to be learned from that place, which is why you created it. So you can clearly see where avoiding stepping into your fear and moving through it keeps sabotaging your journey, and you cycle back again to this good place, and you hang on for dear life, because what if it doesn't last? And that's not powerful. That's not a powerful place to be. And like David points out, we are here right now to embrace this new golden age, and we do it by moving through our fears and finding out how powerful we truly are. So the only way to activate the great golden age that David proves we're heading into through his cycles of time and the repeating cycles is to take fear's journey. Take fear's journey into the light. I read somewhere where it's like we are like irises, opening and closing our eyes. When something comes at us that we're fearful of, the iris closes down. It's like closing down to the bright light, when really what we need to do is keep looking into the bright light until it becomes clear and centered. If you close your eyes, you're never going to know what's there. And it's critically important that we do that. So take a look this Monday morning at the places in your life where you're afraid to be afraid, because we all have them, and take a step in that direction. And have a great week. It was a great eclipse on the 18th, full moon eclipse on the 18th in Aries. So see how that affected you, and we'll tune in again next week. Have a great week. Don't forget, free sessions, follow up on that. That is so much fun. Bye-bye, everyone.